Hey everybody, welcome back here to A Place to Heal. If you have never been here before, my name is Marie. Thank you for joining me once again. If you're one of my regular followers, I so appreciate you guys. All right, so today I'm going to be talking to you about things that you may not know are toxic in your home. And the second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give a giveaway at the end of this video. So stay tuned. And I promise it'll be before my public service announcements. All right, so I'm going to be giving away the Green Life Organics CBD soft gel capsules. And I'm going to be giving away a bottle of the Heads and Tails for your furry friend. So the only thing that I ask on this giveaway is, because I've had problems with giveaways before, is number one, if you are out of the country, don't do it because I cannot ship out of the United States. So you must be in the US, one of the US states, in order to be able to qualify for the giveaway. Number two, I hope that you have a furry friend or have someone that has a furry friend that they can actually benefit from the oil. And number three, you have to be willing to send me your address. In the past, I've had people that have, they've gotten into the giveaway and then I never hear from them again, or no, I don't want to give you my address. So you have to be willing to do that. I mean, you have to be willing to look underneath your comments and see if, check your YouTube comments and see if you were chosen. We're going to put everybody that commented underneath this video. I'm assuming if you commented, you want to win. And we're going to put you in a generator and we will pull your name and I will comment underneath your comment that you have won. All right, so that'll be coming up in just a little bit. So I want to talk to you about a few things that you may or may not know are toxic in your home. So one, I'm going to go in order. It's going to be 10 things. And here we go. Number one, because it just recently happened to me, is carbon monoxide, little detectors. Now, a lot of people sit there and say, oh, I used to be one of those people, right? I would sit there and say, oh, I don't need a carbon. What are the chances that you're going to get carbon monoxide in your house? Isn't that just the stuff that comes out of the tailpipe of your car? All right. So, about 4 weeks ago, I decided I love doing cabbage steaks. And if you've never seen how to do cabbage steaks, oh my God, look them up. They're delicious. So I was cutting my cabbage. I had it in the oven, and about 10 minutes into the oven, this thing just goes off. I mean, it just started going off like crazy. And I'm like, okay, it's got to be the batteries. I mean, there's my carbon monoxide. So they now have started calling it the silent killer because you cannot smell it, you cannot see it, you cannot, nothing. It's just, there's actually not even any symptoms. I started throwing open doors and windows and turning on fans. I was like, oh my gosh, and getting my pets out of the home because this stuff will kill birds within minutes, dogs, cats, whatever. So that's number one. And the people that came out, thank you, informed me that you should never, ever, ever heat your home with the oven door, which I used to do also when I was younger. Sometimes it was really cold and I lived in a very, very, very small apartment, like 350 square feet. And I decided that I would just throw open my oven door and heat it. And no, actually, every time you're cooking, every time you have that oven going, there are small amounts of carbon monoxide being emitted, but this will only go off until when it finally reaches a certain amount. Now, most people bypass these because they're like $20 and up. But let me tell you, this sucker just saved my life a couple of weeks ago. So I think it's a must. Right next to, and I didn't buy it, it came with the house. So there you go. And I have a pretty new oven. So you never know. It's like, oh, my oven's not old, blah, blah, blah. No, get yourself one. Trust me. If you love your animals, you love your children, you love anything, please do that. Okay, so number 2 is lead. I know a lot of people sit there and go, yeah, Marie, we know about the lead paint. We know about the lead this. But listen, there's a lot of people that collect like lead cups, and they have lead coffee mugs, and they have these lead dishes where they had lead in them, and they serve food on these, or they're drinking coffee out of these. And that can become very dangerous and very toxic to your body. It's not only that, but it's also, if you check to see if you have lead pipes. I mean, if you're in a newer home, of course not, but lead pipes are also very important, because every time you heat up that water, I mean, you're taking in this lead. And not only that, but a lot of people love to tell me, I don't need to worry about anything. I live on a property with a well. No. One of the biggest things that I found while I was doing research for all my kidney clients is that wells can actually be very toxic because of the soil around them. So what happens is this soil collects all these minerals and all these pesticides and whatever coming downstream, and it's actually collected into the well. So then you're drinking that well water and you're thinking that it's safe when it's actually not. So it's actually a really, really, really good idea. We lived in a house, 2 houses before this, where there was well water. And I started paying to have the well tested every other year to see if there was any toxic stuff. So if you have a well, it's actually not a bad idea to go ahead and have your well tested. All right, next up, pesticides. We all know that, but it's simple things that have the pesticides in them, like mothballs. Man, my mom was the mothball queen. She had mothballs everywhere. That stuff gets into your lungs. It's very toxic. Pressure treated wood. I recently just used pressure treated wood to build a deck out back, and I'm very adamant about the children not sitting on it and lingering on it too long, and because that stuff, I mean, everything gets absorbed through your skin. Your skin is your largest organ. So it's constantly, I have people that sit there and say, well, I can smell stuff through my breath, or I can smell stuff through my skin. Well, yeah, because your lungs are eliminating organs, and your skin is an eliminating organ. So you're going to, so just like it's dumping stuff out, it's also collecting stuff in. Insect repellent, that's my favorite, because I see people, especially here in July, and they're like dosing their kids with that insect repellent, and I'm like, are you insane? They have essential oils for that. They have citronella and all sorts of stuff that you can use, lemongrass essential oils that you can put on, and it will stop that. This stuff has caused children to have seizures. It's very, very, very toxic, insect repellent. And it's also inside the house. People keep it in their cabinets and everything else. Flea and tick shampoo, something as simple as this. Okay, I borrowed this. So, I mean, even on the side of the bottle, it says it. And it even says how to store it. Do you really want to be putting this on your dog? I don't know. This is crazy. There's 100 natural things, diatomaceous earth, that you can put powder on your dog, get that off. This stuff is not only toxic to you, it's toxic to your dog, it's toxic in your house, it's toxic to your kids. This stuff is just veterinary formula even. This stuff is just horrible. If you read the ingredients, it's just, keep out of reach of children, seaside panels for precautions, and a lot of people keep this in their showers. So, something to think about. All right. And these things, okay, all these detergents and powders and shampoos and stuff. This is the number one, if you call poison control, it is the number one cause of childhood poisonings. That's a shame. So, you know, I strongly suggest to get rid of that. Humidifiers. I am amazed at how many people's houses I go to that have humidifiers, and they just run them night after night after night after night and just add more water, add more water, add more water. Okay, the longer that water sits in there, it starts collecting mold spores, fungus, bacteria. I mean, this is stuff that you have to clean out after every single use. Add a little bit of bleach in there, clean it out. You just can't keep leaving that water in there. Another one of my favorites is this, the good old water pick. My grandkids love their water pick, especially my little one. She's like fascinated with this thing. She loves using that water pick, but it stores water. And that water that sits in there after 4 or 5 days, it starts collecting mold, mildew, bacteria, fungus, all these great spores. And then guess what? You're brushing your teeth and putting it right back in there. So you really, anything that that stores water, you need to change that water out, because since it's not circulating, just like a pond, it's not circulating, it's going to get nasty, and you don't want that going back on your body. Maybe that's the main reason I hate baths. It's a chore for me to do a bath. I'm a shower person. I just can't see wallowing there in my own stuff. I just can't. I've never been able to take a bath ever since I was a little kid. It's just not my thing. All right. So next is your pets. Listen, I love my dog. I love my cats. I love them all. But that dog eventually has to go outside to go to the bathroom. Sometimes you have outdoor cats and they come in and they're in, they're out, and eventually these animals get parasites, right? So I'm very cautious about my animals. I'm always treating them. I treat them with diatomaceous earth. We sell it on the website. You can get it online. It's a white fine powder, and it's really easy to mix into their food. You just mix it in, half a teaspoon, you mix it in for 5 days, and it usually kills, well, it will kill worms and all sorts of parasites. And one of the things that I love is, like, when I go over to people's houses and I just look at their dogs, and their dogs are just rubbing their butts like across the carpet. I'm like, oh, okay. And I mean, a lot of people, oh, isn't he cute? No, that's worms, and you need to take care of that. So if your pet is one of those that is really cute because he's rubbing his butt up against the carpet, it's best to invest in some diatomaceous earth, get it in there, and treat them for worms and parasites. But what happens is, these dogs and these cats that go outside, come inside, they're sharing they're sleeping in your beds, and they're sharing their little bugs with you. So if you have pets, it's very important for you to do parasite cleanses every so often. We also sell parasite cleanse pills on the website. They have them all over the internet. There's all sorts of different parasite cleanses that you can do. And you know, I would suggest getting on that, because that's a little hazard that a lot of people just don't look at, because, you know, these are their pets, they're madly in love with them, you know, they sleep with them, but that's very, very important. Okay, next up is, and I had a friend who learned this the hard way, is non-stick cookware. Most raw vegans, most vegans, most people that cook or boil water or anything, you're going to see that they like the glass cookware. And the reason for that is because there's nothing toxic in there. I like cast iron. I love to collect iron as I'm cooking. So cast iron, glass, stuff like that, that's what most people stick to. because everybody, or at least I hope by now, everybody realizes that nonstick cookware is very toxic. She had 2 very large, beautiful macaws, and both dropped dead right off the perch, because as you heat this stuff up, it has tons of toxins, and as it heats it up, it will kill pets in your home, and it will eventually kill you. And if it can emit these toxins into the air, certainly it's going to go into you when you're cooking the food. I go to people's houses all the man, they're just like, you know, and I go to do consultations, and I go to their house, and I walk in, and I'm like, damn, they just sprayed. And, you know, I mean, I have to go in, but as nice as it is that you want to keep your house smelling good for when people arrive, it's also very toxic. These air fresheners will affect your hormones, believe it or not, and especially in children, your reproductive health. So if you're a woman that can't conceive, or you're a man that can't conceive, or you have children who are having hormonal issues or reproductive issues or anything like that, get rid of these. Those things are horrible. They're just horrible. You know, figure out some other way to make your house smell good. My favorite way is I have bought a tiny little slow cooker. And what I do is I fill it with water, and I add some baking soda in there and an essential oil, and I'll set it on low. And that way it makes the whole house smell. Or way there back behind me, there's a diffuser. So I bought my diffuser. They have beautiful ones now. They're like 6 feet, and they look like something out of a Dr. Seuss book. And you can actually put the stuff in there and turn it on, and it makes your house smell really good, and they're healthy. So these are no bueno. Antibacterial soaps. You know, once upon a time, these were great. And the one thing that I still keep my antibacterial soap around is for one reason and one reason only. When I was told a long time ago, I worked in the trucking industry, right? I wasn't a truck driver. I used to, the truck drivers would come in, and I would have to pass them through to Canada. So I would have to do all their paperwork and everything to get them through the border. So some of these truck drivers used to come in, and I was in a very small little office, one of those little stand-up buildings. And they used to walk in, and it was like, oh my God. It's like that's all you could smell was underarm. And finally, the girl that worked with me, she goes, you know, it was crazy, but I looked it up and it's true. She told me, she goes, the only reason that your underarms smell is because there's bacteria involved. If there's no bacteria, there would be no smell. I haven't worn underarm deodorant now for 5 years. I never have an odor, no matter how much I work out, because I do not have bacteria. So this is the only reason that I still have antibacterial soap, because when somebody comes and they have that underarm smell, it's like, here, kill the bacteria, let's move on. But it's not something that you use all the time. So you go to these schools and everything else, and they have these for the little kids, and they're constantly pumping them and make them wash their hands with this antibacterial soap. And what's happening is it causes antibiotic resistance. So when you do go to give them, the lowest, penicillin dose, or, anything like that, the lowest dose that you can give a child, it's not going to work, because they built a resistance to the antibiotic because of all these antibacterial soaps. And I actually just read, I think it was about 2 weeks ago, I just read an article where antibacterial soap has now been outlawed in like 3 states. So it's getting pretty serious. They want this stuff out. So if you're going to wash your hands, just wash your hands with regular soap. If you, by any chance, do have underarm odor, then you can use some antibacterial soap, kill the bacteria, and move on. And I might even do a video on how to detox your underarms. There is a way to do that, so I might even do that. E. coli and Hep A. Okay, so I've read not one, not two, I don't know how many articles on chicken, and how if you're going to go to a barbecue or you're going to go to a buffet or you're going to go to anything like that, if you're going to catch Hep A or you're going to catch E. coli, 9 out of 10 times it's going to come from the chicken because it was stored improperly. I used to live in Las Vegas, and one of the things that we had to take was we had to take food handling courses if we worked anywhere around food, and and alcohol courses. And one of the things they taught us was that chicken, man, if it is stored wrong, handled wrong, if you clean up after it wrong, whatever, because there's that little substance, that liquid, and it can become very toxic. So a lot of people will use cutting boards, put it up on their counters, they use the utensils, blah, 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 and they're not cleaning up correctly. So this E. coli will sit up on your counters and sit on your sponges, on your cloth, on your towels, everywhere. Anywhere that liquid goes, just think E. coli and Hep A. And another thing is people will store their chicken on the top level of their refrigerator. There's food underneath that. So if that chicken happens to leak while they're defrosting it, that stuff is going to leak onto the stuff underneath it, and then it contaminates that. So that's one of the biggest dangers that you could have in your house is chicken, believe it or not. So, and the next, now I'm not aiming at the meat eaters because the second worst is fruit. So the fruit handlers will handle fruit. They're out in the fields, they won't wash their hands, they do other little things that, they can't wash their hands after, and it gets onto your fruit, and then voila. So they say that if you wash the fruit underneath the water, it kind of makes it worse. So they say to spray it with apple cider vinegar, and that kills everything, and you're good to go. And last but not least is to all my kitty lovers. All right, kitty lovers, that wonderful clumping kitty litter that you're using is full of dangerous silica. It's actually crystalline silica, and it's not only getting into your little kitty's lungs, it's also getting into your lungs. So you have to be very, very careful when you use that, especially the automatic kitty litters. They kind of suggest those, and that's a closed-in space. That's a pretty closed-in space, and the cat is breathing that, and you're breathing that, and it's going into these little crystals are flying around your home. So what people are suggesting now, especially if you have multiple cats, is to buy the pine litter, if your cat will accept it, the pine litter pellets. And if you go to like a hardware store, you can actually get like a 50-pound bag of those things for stove pellets, as long as they can burn them, and you can use them as kitty litter, and you have kitty litter for like 10 years for $5. So there you go. I promised the giveaway, and if you want to win from Green Life, who I've now paired up with, Green Life Naturals, if you want to receive the pills for you and the CBD oil for your lovely furry friend, you need to tell me the name of my 3 cats and my dog. The first person that can tell me that, I told you in my last video you had to pay attention, because I was going to give the answers in my last video. So if you go back to my last video, the first person to tell me correctly the name of my 3 cats and my dog will win these. Remember, you have to be in the United States, and you have to be willing to email me your address and check your emails on YouTube in order for that. So I want to thank Green Life Organics for being so nice and so kind to provide me with the products to give to you guys today. And good luck. I hope somebody that really has never tried them before, has never used them, and somebody who can really, really use them, I hope that you guys are the winner. All right, till next time. I love you guys. Stay tuned. I got some stuff, really cool stuff coming up. I really do. So please subscribe, like, share, and be sure to comment if you want to win. So if you want to win, comment down below this video. Tell me the name of my pets. And these will be being mailed to you. All right. So once again, stay happy, stay healthy, love, respect one another, and detox the body. But trust me, there's nothing better. All right. Bye-bye. Love you guys.